30. Very excited. Start off with Daniel Bryan and keep things going with Roman Reigns. Pleasure.
What's up, boys? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Bright and early, man. I don't know if it's even bright out yet.
It may not be bright
It
yet.
is super early.
Well, I'll tell you what. How does it feel when you start this early? That means that you have become someone that they need out there talking to people.
It's a good feeling.
You gotta like that, right?
You can't make no money on the couch, so it's always a good feeling to be used and do your thing. It's nice to have that responsibility.
Any surprises over the course of the last now over a year that we've seen the emergence of the Shield? Anything that maybe you wouldn't have expected as a kid who was, aspired to do this? Has it been what you expected it would be?
I think so, and a little bit more. To be honest, it goes so fast. You know what I mean? It's like a roller coaster ride. You got your ups and downs, but when you're out on the road, you're just living day by day, and you're just getting through it. But it's been really good, man. We've seen the world. We've made tons of money. I mean, it's been a great year. I couldn't have ever asked for any more.
What's the real life relationship of the Shield like? How are you guys? Are the three of you your closest friends in the company? What is your guys' relationship like?
We're boys, man. We're brothers. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've been all over the world, made more money together than I've ever made in my entire life. Seen so many awesome things, experienced so many different emotions, heard unbelievable reactions from so many different crowds. I mean, you can't bond with anybody in that way, and fortunately, I've been able to do it with two other brothers.
And how were you guys? Was the Shield a concept that was totally brought to you guys? Did you have some involvement in it? Where'd it come from? Early on.
To be honest, it was just they just threw it at us. You know what I mean? And it was a bit of an awkward situation. A lot of people saw us in those stupid turtlenecks when we debuted, but they had shields with Shield on it, Yeah,
yeah,
I
over the top,
know, right? Yeah,
here's the shield,
a clear fiberglass shield with a big shield running down it, just so in case anybody needed to know what our name was.
Right.
But and then we just had this terrifying nightmare of trying to get in the ring. You go in the ring a certain way the majority of the time. I'll slide in, and that's how I do it. You've never been trained to go in there with a riot shield. Nobody in this business.
Did you guys actually get to the point where you were trying to do that, or no?
We got them, and we're just we were like, man, we're about to debut. Who cares? I'm excited about it. I don't care what they make me do. I'll run out here naked. Who cares? But then, as we were going, I think Vince saw it, and he wasn't feeling it. So, I mean, anytime he sees something he ain't feeling it, it's X-Nade ASAP.
So how early in your life did you know this was something you wanted to do? You have so many family members who have been involved in the wrestling business. Who was it? What was it that made you feel it deeply?
I mean, from just a little guy, you know what I mean? Tiny, 5 years old, you know what I mean? Going through my dad's gear, you know what I mean? Coming up with tag team maneuvers with my cousins and stuff. That was the initial thing we all wanted to do. And in my family, that's really all you look up to the men in your family. They're the role models, they're the leaders, so they're the alpha males, so that's who you want to be like. And we've had so many men in our family be able to do this and fortunate enough to be on the road and make money doing this. So that was initially the thought. Being where I'm from, Pensacola, Florida, down in Florida, we play football. So every young man is going to probably end up doing that for a little while. Fortunately for me, I was pretty good at it, and I got
good.
Yeah, I got a full ride to Georgia Tech and,
Yep.
and spent a little time there. But it was always either wrestling or football, and then it was wrestling, football, and then wrestling. You know what I mean? So that's just me.
Did you enjoy football as much as you do wrestling? Was it close?
At first, football was pretty fun, but once I got into college and a little bit older, and it became just I need to get a scholarship. I need to make this many tackles or this many sacks, or I'm trying to be All-American. I'm trying to go to the league, and it became more stressful than anything. The thing with wrestling is it's extremely stressful, but it's art, you know what I mean? Like it's yours. Like football, you're gonna play it the same way. Like a D tackle is gonna do what a D tackle does, you know what I mean? There's only a few things he can do, but a performer can. It's just limitless. I can do anything I want to do. I can portray anything. I can show any emotion that needs to be shown. So it's a lot more well-rounded, I think.
Well, it's funny. A lot of people, when they ask me about why I love wrestling, they'll say, "Well, do you love UFC?" And I'll say, "Well, actually, a lot of the things that I love about wrestling are exactly what I don't get from UFC, because I find the difference between someone who literally wants to just be beaten in the face and beat other people in the face versus someone who enjoys physicality but enjoys the artistic performance, makes for a different kind of person and a different kind of personality. And I think that's what's really cool, and that's kind of what you're expressing about this. Like, wrestling is great, but your personality can only be so much in football. And in fact, if you inject too much personality in football, you get in trouble. And
get some heat for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of heat for that. As I spend the week celebrating my Redskins signing Deshaun Jackson. I mean, there's being too different in football can create issues. Who in the locker room has pulled you aside and been monumental in helping you guys out and helping make sure that you guys get this moment right?
Yeah, I mean, in the locker room, nobody. You know what I mean? Like we just do what we do. You know what I mean? Like we're the leaders in the locker room. Obviously within the whole backstage, there's a lot of people that we talk to, like Triple H and people like that for advice and experience things. You know what I mean? Like, if there's one thing that we don't have, which is very fastly being erased with what we've done in this past year, but it could be the experience thing. We only have one Mania under our belt. We're going into our second one, but everything that we do, we're gaining that knowledge. But I mean, as far as in the locker room, we don't really answer to anybody. We just do our thing, and we vibe like that.
Is there anyone that you go to, though, that you enjoy asking for a word or saying, like, or let's say after a match, like a lot of times, if you work with someone who's more experienced, is there anything that you, after a match, you'll come away and be like, "Hey, how did this go?" Or they'll say, or maybe is it likely that someone would pull you aside and go, "Hey, I like that you did this. Don't do this"?
Sure. I mean, we have people like that, our producers and veteran wrestlers who are now in a non-wrestling role. But there's a ton of them, Joey Mercury, Michael P.S. Hayes, Arn Anderson. There's a ton of guys that they're great resources that we tap into. But, I mean, as far as in locker room, young guys like us, I feel like they come to us. You know what I mean? We don't go to nobody.
Joey Mercury getting put over all day. This is Joey Mercury Day. I hope you're watching these. My buddy, now speaking of putting people over, my buddy, I thought did a fantastic job with you, Mark Henry. I think the moments you guys had were, in fact, I actually sat there and thought, this could have happened at WrestleMania. Like, I even thought there's you versus Mark in a one-on-one at Mania could have put you over. But then you guys got to work a couple times, and I think the impact was still really effective. Can you feel with a match with a guy like that afterwards that it helps transition you and get seen even more seriously?
Yeah, I think anytime you're fortunate enough to get in the ring with a guy like that, not only with the experience he has and being the veteran that he is, but he's just a monster, you know what I mean? Anytime people can watch me fighting like a giant dinosaur, you know what I mean? Like you just don't see human beings like Mark Henry or Big Show. That's the awesome thing about WWE is it's just larger than life, and we have these people that are they're just not around anymore. And Mark Henry is one of those guys, and to be the athlete that he is, as strong as he is, as big as he is, and the way he can move. You put a guy like that with me, and I think it's fireworks. It's awesome stuff.
Well, it ended up, the spear looked amazing, because that's what you really want, right? You need to put over your spear and have that look like it could take out anyone, which is what makes those moments big. Which is, I was almost a little surprised. I thought someone like Mark or Big Show would potentially end up in a match with you or a Cesaro, someone who's right on the cusp of being a monster themselves.
Sure.
So where does one go from here? How do you maintain? I don't want to say too much. This past week I was super busy with the premiere of This Is Hot 97 on VH1 every Monday night at 10:30. So I have my own TV show up against Raw now. So yeah, 10:30.
I hope you're willing to lose.
Oh, don't worry. We got a 1 share, which is good. We didn't get your guys 3-2 or whatever you guys get. So I didn't see exactly what the follow up was, but after the Barclays Center show 2 weeks ago, there was a very noticeable promo that you guys cut with the crowd where you put over the Brooklyn crowd. And I was watching the show thinking, Shield is appearing very nice to the crowd tonight. And then after you guys cut this promo, do you sense a direction that you guys are going?
No, I think, that night was a special night. Brooklyn is, we love Brooklyn, man. Like TLC, we tore that sucker up. That was our first match, our first pay-per-view. I mean, we got all kinds of chants that night. I mean, just like 8 different chants during that match. And all those guys can tell you that we have a deep connection with Brooklyn. We love that place. Outside of the parking, we love Brooklyn.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's a really, for all the kind of stereotypes people have about Brooklyn, like the way people talk, it's as smart a wrestling crowd as you're going to get.
It is.
So
it is.
They know when something new and awesome is happening.
And they're not scared to be like, nah, we don't like this, so get it out of here. You know what I mean? And they're real. So we appreciate that. They don't hold back. And that's how we are. You know what I mean? We're fleshed out. This is how we are. We come to fight. And I feel like there's a lot of fight in the Brooklyn crowd, and many others as well.
Sometimes literally fights in the Brooklyn crowd. Now, who in the locker room exists right now that you think, you know what, I want to be a single star in time to get to feud with this person before there's no time left? Is there anyone like that you're thinking about?
I think there's a good crop of young guys like myself that are, and you never know how your career is going to go or the path everybody's going to take. But there's just a ton of guys. Cesaro, Dean Orseth, Big E,